First, start by securing your thread to the hook and then wrapping it back to the bend of the hook. Snip off the excess thread. The first thing we're going to do is add our tail. Our tail is going to be made out of a wood duck dyed mallard flank. Take the nice crisp fibers of the mallard flank, clump them together, and then secure them on top of the shank of the hook. The length of the tail should roughly be half the length of the shank of the hook. Once it's secure, wrap your thread back up 2/3 the length of the shank and then snip off the excess. Next, we're going to add our body. The body is going to be made out of a mahogany turkey biot. Secure down the tip of the mahogany biot at that 2/3 point and then wrap it back to the bend of the hook. And then once it's secure, bring your thread back to that 2/3 point. Now secure your mahogany biot in your hackle pliers and begin wrapping forward to 2/3 the length of the shank. As you're wrapping forward, make sure that your wraps are close enough to each other to create a nice dark rib to the body of your PMD. Once you've reached that 2/3 point, secure down the biot and then snip off the excess. Once it's snipped off, a few extra security wraps will help hold everything in place. Now we're going to add some dubbing. Apply a very sparse amount of PMD superfine dubbing to your thread and then wrap it around that 2/3 point on the hook. Once you've built up a nice little dub ball, it's time to add the wing. The wing is going to be made up by light done CDC. We're going to take 2 pieces of that and spoon them together. Bring the tips together, and with the tips roughly the length of the shank of the hook, we're going to secure them down right behind the eye. Make sure it's nice and secure before you snip off the excess. And when you do snip off the excess, make sure there's a little puff behind. Next, we're going to add the legs. The legs are going to be made out of a grizzly saddle hackle. In this particular case, the grizzly hackle has been dyed yellow. If you've got that, I would suggest you use it. After you have it secured down, take about 3 or 4 wraps forward, just behind the eye, and then secure it down just behind the eye. Once it's nice and secure, snip off the excess, and it's time to whip finish. Once you've whip finished and your thread is secure, snip off the excess. Trim off a few of the straggling fibers, and you have yourself a Cripple PMD.